bestie's behavior is problematic, so I'm going no contact.
I just wanted you to buy her drinks. It's not that big of a deal.
There are 3 main events that have unfolded throughout this debacle leading up to the decision. This first happened in August of 2024. The second, and in my opinion, the most damaging and detrimental, happened on Halloween of 2024. The third happened just a few days ago, and I have absolutely had it. I've always been incredibly fortunate to have a family that I'm close with, so this is not a decision I've made lightly. By the way, this comes from user ZappyZaza, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK storytime subreddit. But before I get to that, I would like to give some context. My brother, who we'll call Neville, and his very close friend, Bartholomew, which I will shorten to Bart, his close friend's girlfriend, all of us are roommates. Neville has always been a bit of a turd, but lately he's been genuinely dismissive of me. And he has this false sense of superiority because he makes more money than I do, which is just ick. We weren't raised that way, and I don't know why he's starting to change like this, but that is beside the point. In the beginning, Prudence and I got extremely close. We did everything together. We learned about each other's deepest secrets, our fears, our thoughts, etc. I would have trusted her with my life. She always supported me when Neville would be mean to me, validating the fact that I'm not just being sensitive like he tells me I am. For example, I said I forgot to clean the floors because I didn't want to vacuum while everyone was asleep, and I forgot to continue when everyone woke up. He told me to stop being lazy and use the broom. But when I got upset, he didn't mean it like that. There's another example. I was in my underwear and he barged into my computer room despite me saying, do not come in. And when he just came in anyways, he told me to grow up and it's not a big deal and he's not even looking. Just being ridiculous and disrespectful, but being a brother nonetheless. Well, I started noticing strange little things with Prudence, which looking back, I should have taken as red flags. She would try to ask our friends whose stomach is flatter while we would all hang out. She told me about how she's scared to trust women because of a girl who tried to act inappropriately with her boyfriend years ago. And I reassured her she didn't have to worry about me because I don't find taken men attractive, especially not my friends' boyfriends, nor do I find him specifically attractive, him being Bartholomew. She said that made her feel like crap because she wants other women to feel jealous that she has such a prize and feel like she won. She constantly compared our front airbag sizes, constantly talking about how she could help me look better if she does my makeup because I don't usually wear any except mascara. And when she would compare us, I only ever lifted her up, telling her how gorgeous she is, how her body has carried her through life to where she is today, how everyone's bodies are beautiful, and how there's so many people out there who love her body type, blah, 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 blah. I would just gas her up. The first red flag that I actually registered as a red flag, as silly as it was all over coffee. As roommates, we shared all our food. We all went grocery shopping together and cooked meals with and for each other, etc. But we were also respectful about food sharing. Bart, who had bought coffee pods this time, and there was only one left, so I didn't touch it. I decided to forgo it because I wanted to be respectful. Later on, Prudence told me to go ahead and have it because she was about to go get more for him anyway. So I used it. I'm a coffeeholic. I am not going to turn it down. Well, Bart woke up and asked Prudence, what happened to the last coffee pod? Prudence, not knowing I was in the computer room just around the doorway and could hear, told him that I drank it. That was it. Just that I drank the last one. I didn't think much of it until I noticed that he started hiding coffee. I decided to confront Prudence and I asked her, hey girlie, I know that Bart knows I had that last coffee and I noticed he's keeping his coffee to himself now, which is totally fine, but I'm just wondering if you told him about the portion where I had permission to drink it from you. I don't want him to feel like he has to hide his food or anything in his own house. And she went off. She started saying she would never throw me under the bus like that and that she never said my name. I said, well, first of all, I heard the whole conversation. And secondly, I didn't take it as you throwing me under the bus. I just thought you were telling him what happened. I thought you just had a vague description. I wasn't upset. I just don't want him to feel like he has to hide things. She continued to deny she ever said I drank it. And she literally said she didn't believe me. So I just dropped it. It wasn't worth it for me to continue arguing. A few days later, she told me that she asked Bart if that's what she said, and he confirmed it to her. That was kind of frustrating that she couldn't just believe me, but I was was grateful Bart set it straight because I felt incredibly unheard when I talked to her about it. There were a few weird situations like this, like I remember the first time she said something under her breath after I walked away from an argument that was starting, and I was so shocked that she would do that. Things just got so uncomfortable from there. She stopped wanting to do fun things like having our own snack drawer in our computer room for just us, and I noticed she also started to deny that Neville ever treated me differently than other people.
Ooh, she's playing mind games with you now.
All because she's like, yeah, you can have it. Don't worry. I'm going to get more. And then you're like, hey, did you tell him that you told me I could have that? No, I never said that. I never said that. I know. The thing is that she would always say things like, he doesn't like me more than you, which I thought was strange. Never had I claimed that he liked her specifically more than me, nor had we ever discussed that prior. It was a weird, and at the time, I thought a random shift in perspective. Later, Prudence confessed to me that she and Neville kissed, even though she is still in a long-term relationship with Bart. I obviously told her how not okay it was. I gave her the tough love talk, and I love her and wanted to be honest, but I also didn't want my brother Neville to get wrapped up in that BS. Well, in August of 2024, we had a huge verbal fight. Here's some more context. Prudence has a dog, and I have a cat. Prudence's dog is food/attention aggressive and has twice attacked my cat. The first time was because I stopped petting the dog to pet my cat, and the second time was because I was feeding my cat. Mind you, Prudence told me she knew she could be aggressive, but didn't tell me she knew her triggers, so both of those attacks could have been avoided. Thankfully, I intervened quickly enough both times. Prudence would just panic and watch, so it didn't get too bad. The only injury my baby had sustained is that her bottom fang broke in half, but she's doing well physically now. She's just traumatized, and I understand why. Still, I adore that dog. I worked in vet med for 6 years, 2 of those in emergency, and I know it's not the pup's fault. That's right, it's not the pup's fault. It's the owner's fault. Prudence worked at a pet chain store for a few years, and that's actually part of why this blowout took place. We were standing in the kitchen, and out of nowhere, she says, I've noticed you have anxiety around my dog now. I didn't feel the way that she thought, but I did have anxiety about how she wanted her dog taken care of, so I let her know that. When she asked for examples, the first one I provided was that she would go back and forth on if I was or wasn't allowed to take her dog on walks. She just completely denied that ever happening, despite her going back and forth 3 times. Since I wasn't getting anywhere there, I brought up a time when she got upset at me for letting her dog inside from the backyard while she was gone. I did it because living in Southern California and it being the end of summer, it was 100+ degrees outside. Prudence and Bartholomew had an appointment to get his car serviced. The appointment ended up being 4 hours long when it wasn't supposed to be nearly that long. She always asks me to watch her dog and allows me to let her in and out freely, give her water freely, etc., so I didn't think it would be bad. Prudence responded with, I got mad because she was supposed to be outside. And I replied, okay, I totally respect that, but I didn't know that, and that's not what usually happens. Instead of just acknowledging that I was confused, she asked, why did you even let her in anyway? I told her the whole thing about the temperature and the time and being allowed to do so in the past. And she just said, it's not bad for dogs to be outside in the heat. She's obviously fine. She's survived much worse. I said, Prudence, I've literally watched dogs pass away from less than that from being out in the field. And she just screamed, she is so sorry I have trauma, but she knows what the F she's doing with her dog. I just kept saying, and I respect that, it's your dog. I respect how you want her taken care of. Eventually, I just started saying okay because she wouldn't stop. She started accusing me of judging her for leaving the dog outside, which honestly, you should.
Yeah, we're judging you right now, girl.
I repeated again that I wasn't and that I respected what she wanted. It just didn't make sense to me. She disregarded my clarification and continued to yell at me, so I started yelling back and said I was done. I cut off the friendship, and immediately after, I ran upstairs to try and talk to my brother because I was having a panic attack and needed support. Unfortunately, I started bringing up the way she was projecting about him and her and how that was affecting me, and he got very pissed. He started screaming that I was the one that was projecting and that he can't effing help me. After that, I distanced myself. I was so hurt, and eventually things kind of settled down. Neville and I got over things, and Prudence and Bart weren't really talking to me anymore, so it was nice. They were leaving me alone, which now brings us to Halloween of 2024. Prudence decided to have some people over for a Halloween party and extended the olive branch by letting me know I was welcome to join in, since everyone she was inviting was mutual friends. I was relieved, and I thought maybe, just maybe, we could be civil or maybe even be friends again. But boy, was I wrong. Things were okay for the majority of the night, but there was a lot of booze flowing, and the later it gets, the more of a problem that becomes. She pulled me into a room and closed the door behind us, got in my face, and accused me of being wrong in the argument we had about her dog. I asked her why that even came up right now. She tried to say that it had something to do with what we were just talking about, but she had just been wrestling with the guys she invited over. We weren't talking about anything. She was just wasted and she saw me, so it came to mind, and she impulsively grabbed me and cornered me. I just decided to let it go because I didn't care about what she thought anymore at that point. A few moments later, Prudence started making food in the air fryer for everyone, but forgot she didn't, started wrestling again. I found the food half burnt but still edible, and so to be kind, I finished making the food for her and plated it. I didn't realize that while I was doing that, she was going around telling people that I'd put the food in but burnt it all. I'd only realized when she came to me and also tried to convince me that I put the food in, and another guest corrected her saying she actually put it in. After that, I politely excused myself to bed. I knew it was about to get messy, and I didn't want to be a part of it. I cozied up into bed, door closed, grateful I made it through the night without any major issues. And then there was a knock at the door. Knock, knockety knock. I wonder who it could be.
I thought we already got through the bad part.
Yeah. Prudence came in to tell me she thought I went to bed because of the food thing, and that she really didn't care who put the food in, and it wasn't a big deal. I don't know why I would do this, considering it worked so well the last time, but I took the opportunity to address the fact that I was a little more upset about how she closed me in a room and got in my face. She started saying she was never talking about me, and I clarified that I was referring to what she herself had said to me. She just continued on about how she wasn't talking about me to other people, so I just stopped her and told her I don't want to talk anymore. She said, honey, I wasn't trying to still be friends. I don't know why you think I want to talk to you. I stopped her and I said, no. I mean this conversation right now. That pissed her off. She closed my door and I just sighed, whatever. I went to get my phone that I had left out there, and I heard her telling people that I was accusing her of talking crap about me. I went into the room and clarified again that no, I'm talking about what you said to me. And then she started screaming, and I mean blood-curdling screaming. That's not what you said. You're such an effing liar. Blah, 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 blah. I just said, okay, and turned around and went to my room and closed the door. She literally followed me and was screaming at me through my door. I opened my door as she was yelling, and I had to wipe her spit off my face from the screaming and tell her she needs to leave me alone because I'm not going back to jail over someone like her. At that point, my brother Neville heard the commotion finally and came back downstairs. This was the beginning of a 4-hour screaming match. I say match, but it was just her screaming at me for letting her dog inside, then for not helping her clean up after herself anymore because she was mistreating me, for not wanting to share my things anymore with her because she was mistreating me, etc. She started screaming in front of everyone my secrets and things that I've told her in confidence. She was calling me the most vile things. She even said that my cat doesn't deserve to leave my room. I could never think anything bad about her dog. Thankfully, Neville saw the second half of it all, and he sat with me for a while after Prudence was finally escorted off to bed by Bart. I told Neville I was just grateful that other people were there to witness what I've been putting up with, and he apologized for not believing me or listening to me when I tried to tell him how bad it was. Even though Neville didn't really stand up for me verbally that night, I was still glad he stood with me while I endured all of the things she hurled at me. I thought that him witnessing that was going to deter him from wanting to be with her any further. I realize this is already incredibly long, so if you guys want to hear about what went down with the third main event, the one that has me cutting off both my brother Neville and my roommate Prudence, and by extension cutting off Bartholomew since he's Prudence's boyfriend, let me know.
And guys, guess what? We're about to
know right now. We're just going right into it. I wanted to preface with the fact that there were countless instances of Prudence being toxic in between these main events. I'm not going to get into that. I also want to mention that the home we are renting is actually one of my childhood homes. We moved there in 2010, and just to reiterate, Neville is my brother, Prudence is my ex-best friend, and Bart is Prudence's long-term boyfriend. Okay, anyways, remember how I said that Prudence's dog has food and attention aggression and attacked my cat multiple times? Well, she doesn't watch her dog all the time, and her dog roams around unsupervised. This wouldn't be a problem to me if she wasn't aggressive towards my cat. I am always keeping her dog from eating out of the cat box, which is by my room, Her dog gets locked out of whatever room Prudence is in frequently because Prudence gets annoyed that her dog has a lot of energy and doesn't just chill. We need a new law where if you get a dog and then you deny its existence and right to behave and be a dog, jail. It was inconvenient that I have to also watch her dog, but the argument I knew would happen wasn't worth bringing it up. That is, until the pup started coming into my room. Like I've mentioned, I love this dog so much. My concern is that if I wasn't in my room to stop her from coming in and my cat was eating, my cat could be unalived. My cat is my baby. I love her as if she were a human child. So I sent this message in the roommate group chat. Hey guys, please, 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 if you're going to let the dog roam, keep an eye on her. She has started trying to come into my room and it is a safety issue for both of our pets. I love her very much, but that's just not acceptable. Thank you. And my brother Neville texted me this on the side in private. Stop texting the group chat. They didn't intentionally try to send the dog in there, and she's normally being watched. Please, I'm overhearing every single problem that everyone has. You won't have to deal with it much longer. Thank you. Oh, this is the point where I done lost my ish. A, she is most definitely not always watched, and B, I'm not going to stop standing up for myself just because he is uncomfortable. He said it's just crazy I've taken it this far. Like what? Me? Take it this far?
You're just sending
Please.
a text in a group chat. What's actually happening in Prudence's world is you have nailed the 99 thesis of get away from me.
I think this OP needed the 99 theses of when the frick you move out of a place because your roommates are psycho.
Yeah, I'd be looking around and be like,
Get
"Well,
out."
Actually, guys, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, and then they'll be like,
I'm
what
done.
do you mean? Why are you moving? Why are you moving? You realize the
Yeah.
position it puts... And you go, hey. I'm moving because look at what you're doing right now.
With my cat.
That's why I'm moving.
If I couldn't move right away, what I would do is have a friend that could take care of my cat, give it to them for now, find a new place to get into, stay until my lease is up, work maybe a second job so I can stay away from those people, and then just spend as less time as
Do
I can as
anything, dude.
possible there.
Please. And so I said, what's crazy is how you've seen how she acts and you still want to be with her behind your best friend's back. What's crazy is you won't support your own sister. What's crazy is how delusional you all are. So Neville continued on about how I'm just creating drama and I need to stop texting the group chat. You want to know the reasons I texted for? Prudence left the stove top on with an open flame and everything for hours overnight. Someone didn't shut the fridge, so everything went bad overnight, making my bathroom off limits to them and their guests because they had someone come over who was fighting and crying all night with their significant other in my bathroom, keeping me up until 3 a.m., and I woke up to vomit everywhere in the morning, like at least clean it up and also just protecting my cat. So I'm not just like, oh, you left the TV on. You know, want to know what she gets upset about? Calling me weird for starting to write my name on my food. You know, like normal roommate behavior because she keeps eating my food. And I'm on a fixed income, so I can't just go get more whenever I want to. Saying I need to stop turning off her light in our shared office when she leaves it on all night. Having to look at my stuff in the shared office space that she isn't even paying for. I mean, she moved my stuff out of the office after I'd already told her no, which was crazy because who do you think you are? And why do you think you have authority to do that? She just wants me to be the bad guy so badly. She refuses to take any responsibility. And my brother telling me to just let bygones be bygones because she refuses to apologize is insane. Both Neville and Bartholomew enable her to be the way she is. She hasn't ever had any real consequences for her actions, and that's why she acts like a child at her big age. And by the way, my children, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on iHeartRadio and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and there you will find every single story that we've ever said. We do have a little bit more left here. That OP bringing up the fixed income, I think that is probably a very big reason why they have not moved out of the situation. Regardless, you have to figure it out. You have to start putting feelers. You have to contact your friend. This is going to end with that dog potentially harming your cat.
Yeah.
You know, like at that point, it's like, can't do it. You have to put a lot of energy into moving out of this place as fast as possible. I'm exhausted trying to beg my brother for support. I'm exhausted trying to tiptoe around the house to avoid everyone as much as possible. I was even having nightmares every single night. Now they happen only once in a while, thankfully. It's just heartbreaking to lose my best friend and my brother all at once. Since I've decided to let go of all that, I do feel a little lighter, although the sadness isn't gone. It feels so relieving to put down some of that stress. Thank you all for taking the time to read why I have cut off my brother and ex-best friend. The Delulu is Deluluing. And that is the end of that story. How are you going to really cut them off when you live with them still? Is my biggest question. And I have an answer for that. I think it's time for somebody to expose the truth about your brother and Prudence.
Blackmail?
I think if you just blow up that entire situation,
Wait a minute.
they end up moving out on their own.
Time out.
Somebody's moving. Somebody's leaving.
Let's go back about 20-ish minutes. I don't like blackmail. Now
That's not blackmail. That's not even a
That's blackmail.
No,
mail.
blackmail is saying
It's just mail.
I have this thing and I'll
It's
say it
just
if you
mail.
don't. This is not blackmail. This is just being like, hey, Neville's making out with Prudence. Neville's hooking up with your girl. Go to Bartholomew and say Neville's hooking up with her.
Okay.
And I just thought you deserved to know. I would want to know if I was you.
Not bad. What do you think, Keon?
Yeah. And then let that just
let that
blow itself
you're
up.
Like you just watch it from afar and get your popcorn ready.
Definitely lock the door. Put the earmuffs on. I don't know. But